The Philadelphia Eagles have won Super Bowl 52. What a time to be alive, man. I've been an Eagles fan for about 10 years and never really been proud of it, but to finally be able to say that my team was the team that not only made it to the Super Bowl and not only won the Super Bowl, but to say that the Eagles were the ones that beat the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl, it feels good, man. This was just like that time I had a new episode of Real Talk.
I find more real in the world that I'm in than I do the tinsel. And the real world is the one I have to deal with every day.
Episode 5, baby. That's what I'm talking about. This weekly show has turned into something that doesn't work out so well weekly because I'm just way too busy for this shit. But I'm here to rant at you again. What the fuck is up? I am joined again by my special guest from the last time. His name is Tanner Blue. What is up, Tanner Blue?
What's going on, man? I'm glad to be back on this prestigious weekly podcast called Real Talk. You know, I look forward to this every week, even though I don't get it every week.
Yeah, well, I do enjoy delivering to the fans. I like to give them what they want. I mean, nobody asked for this show, but I'm going to give it to you anyways. You've done a lot since the last time we spoke. What have you done since then?
Well, you know, I found out what a video camera was. I started using that. And, you know, just trying to get big into the sports area of things on our channel. And, you know, for anyone that's interested, I did take a week off from our podcast, or from my podcast, Blues World. So it's going to be coming out here shortly, again soon. It's going to be a visual show. It's going to be more like a kind of like an internet-based show instead of a podcast. So I think people are going to enjoy it. It's going to be a lot funnier. And then, you know, we're going to put out my Dad Hat season video, starting a new series there. So, you know, whatever season it is, I'm going to talk about it. So I hope everyone enjoys that. You know, we're trying to get this thing rolling. You know, I'm trying to be chilling with Jake Paul in like 2 weeks. What's up?
Dude, Jake Paul is where it's at. Logan Paul is where it's at. I'm trying to be in a Logan Paul video. You feel me? I'm going to save that joke for later. Yeah, no, I'm very excited to see what else you got. Your production value has gone up tremendously since you started out.
Thank you.
These season videos, I like it already. I watched that Dad Hat season video, and that was fucking hilarious. Stop it. So I'm very excited to see what's next. But as for today, we're going to talk about something that I think a lot of people know about. A lot of people they can relate to. This is a part of their life as much as it is a part of mine and a part of yours. That's the Family Man. What do you know about the Family Man, Tanner Blue?
Well, it's about this guy, and he's got a family, and he's got a dog, and yeah.
I thought that was American Boy. Nah, we're going to talk about Family Guy today because Netflix is removing Family Guy. They're taking it off February 14th, 2018. So anybody who binge watches Family Guy or puts them to sleep or they just rewatch all the episodes that they've seen before like I do.
And me.
Yeah, we're going to be losing out on that. Right now, Netflix only has seasons 1 through 8 on there. They removed seasons 9 through, I think, 14 recently. That was because... a lot of people don't know this. It's because Netflix didn't renew their contracts with Fox last year, so all the Fox shows are disappearing. But who cares about seasons 9 through 14 anyways, right?
That's tough because, you know, as we'll get into later, like kind of dividing up the seasons, like whenever it changed. You know, I'm a big fan of the earlier seasons, but there are episodes I do love from 9 through 14. You know, whenever I was younger and like the newer seasons were coming out, I didn't think they were funny, but now that I'm older, I appreciate the humor more. And they're just like, you know what, we've been doing this for so long, we're just going to say whatever. And to me, like, that's pretty funny. So I do enjoy some of the later stuff.
Yeah, Family Guy is something that a lot of people have kind of grown up with. I do vividly remember in like elementary school, people would be like, no, Family Guy is not that funny, I'm too old for that. And they were like 12 years old, and I'm like, hey, shut your mouth, Family Guy's funny. Family Guy's still funny now. I mean... you look at the very early seasons, like the beginnings of Family Guy, when most of this generation was like still too young to watch it. Do you think now Family Guy is something that always kind of digs on like celebrities and social commentary and like pop culture and stuff like that. Do you think that the jokes that they made back in seasons, you know, like 1 through 4, before our time technically, you think those jokes still hold up?
I think so, because I think a lot of it's funny. Like, say there's a joke in like season 2 or 3 about a celebrity, and now you're looking back on that and like to see like how that progressed, or like, you know, all the times Family Guy's predicted like all these things about celebrities. Like Seth MacFarlane obviously knows something. Like I remember like I've escaped from Kevin Spacey's basement. That was season 3, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And this just happened recently, like with the Kevin Spacey stuff. So I think like stuff like that you can look back on, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see that. Now, my biggest problem with Family Guy's the early seasons is when they name drop celebrities. Dude, I'm proud when I can recognize one of those celebrities' names. Like, they say Kurt Russell, and that's pretty much the only name that I recognize. I don't recognize any of the other ones. But, yeah, that's not stopping it from being funny. They do have some good original stories here. When do you think Family Guy really just, like, exponentially increased in quality?
I'm kind of indifferent on that. Like, you know, you say the quality from seasons, like, 1 through 3, you know, wasn't all that. Like, yeah, the animation like isn't as good, but to me it's the simplicity of it that made the humor to me like more appealing and the storytelling a lot better. Like the later seasons, you know, when they like went HD and, you know, they started doing everything on the computer and everything, you know, it got a lot better animation wise, but to me they were focused on all that instead of the actual storytelling. So to me, the earlier seasons, while they're not as like aesthetically pleasing, I still do enjoy them for the original stories and concepts.
Yeah, that's I mean, when they turned HD, they pretty much evolved. But I think unanimously online, you ask anyone what the best season of Family Guy is, it's going to be season 4, right? Why do you think season 4 is always the best one amongst everyone who is asked about it?
Because that was their comeback season. No pun intended.
That's right. That's right. They were canceled, weren't they? I don't remember that, but I remember them talking about it on the show. So I'm glad they came back. Season 4 was just a banger. There's like 30 episodes in that season.
And that's the longest season, I'm pretty sure. And you know they've had all that time to kind of write new stuff, and they at the same time they were trying to bring back what the fans like from the earlier seasons while implementing new stuff. So I think they really had like a good mix of stuff there, and it's hilarious. It's probably the best season. I'd have to agree with that.
I think, yeah, the seasons 1 through 8, I mean, that's where you're going to find all the classics on there. Like, if there's any recurring gags on Family Guy, it came from those seasons. So you're really not missing anything once they turn to HD with season 9. I have Hulu as well, so I won't be missing out on all the new stuff. But when do you watch Family Guy as it comes out, like on TV, like weekly?
No. But I do have Hulu as well, and what I kind of like to, you know, binge watch it. Like I'll kind of let the episodes build up. You know, it's Family Guy. You don't need to see it live whenever it airs. I kind of let them like build up like 2 or 3 episodes, and then I'll sit down and like just watch 2 or 3 of them at the same time. That's what I prefer to do.
Yeah. Family Guy is one you can just kind of just put on in the background. You'll enjoy it. Okay, now here's the burning question here: who is the best Family Guy character?
Oh boy. If I had to pick my favorite Family Guy character, how cliche do you want to be about this? Like, is there like a criteria?
Not cliche. No one's listening to this show anyways. Just say your favorite. Who's the best? Who's the character that if they had an episode only about that character, you could watch it?
Stewie.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Stewie's, you know.
Stewie's got the depth to him. I mean, he's got everything, you know. Whether he's the evil genius from the early shows or kind of just like the gay drama queen from the later seasons. I mean, he's got so much to him. What do you think about Brian?
I love Brian so much.
I love me some Brian. I don't like the early seasons where he's like a know-it-all and like the voice of reason. I like it. I actually prefer, the best part about the new seasons is Brian, because I think the way he's portrayed as like a what's the
he's like a left wing, like liberal.
Yeah, like I don't want to bring like politics into it, but he's like a liberal douchebag. Yeah. And I just absolutely love it how he's like always just snarky about everything, and he always acts like he knows about it. Dude, I love That's so funny. I love hearing him just be a total douchebag. I think that's so funny. The douchebag stereotype is my absolute favorite stereotype to watch get parodied, and I just think that's brilliant. I'm so glad they put that on Brian, because that's just done really well.
And I'm so glad they brought him back, because remember when they killed him off? Like, yeah, I wasn't really like keeping up with Family Guy at that point, and then I heard about it, and fans were like, ah! Like freaking out. 2 episodes later, he's back.
Yo, I know you've seen the picture. Some guy got a Brian Griffin tattoo. Said rest in peace. Said rest in peace, Brian Griffin on his leg. Dude,
I like that guy.
How lame does your life have to be to have a rest in peace Brian Griffin tattoo? Like, you can try to say like, yeah, but I remember where I was the day that happened. I'm like, no, shut your mouth. You were watching Netflix, idiot. That's when they killed off Brian. I wish they could have kept with that, honestly, at least for more than 2 episodes, because they killed off Brian, and then they released one of my absolute favorite episodes with Vinny, and then they brought him back like the Christmas special. Yeah. So it was like a month in between episodes.
I think it was like 2 or 3 episodes total where like he was gone.
Well, he was killed, and then they got Vinny. Mm-hmm. And then the next episode was the holiday one where Stewie and Vinny go to the mall and they see the clone, yada, 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 and they bring Brian back. But no, I do like Brian. I think, you know what? My favorite character, though, it's not Brian. It's not even Peter. Maybe Quagmire, but...
Oh, man, it's so hard to pick. I love all of them.
Yeah, I like Quagmire a lot, but my favorite character is Adam West. Mayor Adam West. Oh, my God.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Adam West. Some of the best jokes from Family Guy come from Adam West dropping 1 sentence per episode.
Those one-liners, man, they get you.
One line. Every episode, he comes out of nowhere. It's just the funniest thing of the whole episode. So I love it. I always watch episodes looking for Adam West. But
your favorite Adam West line, what is it?
My absolute favorite Adam West, there's 2 of them, and they're very similar. There's one where Stewie tries to die. So he goes and he shoots Joe's police cruiser, and Joe wheels up to him. He's like, oh no, I have so much to live for. And they're both like waiting to see who kills each other first. And Stewie's like, come on, aren't you going to shoot me? And Joe's like, oh man, the one day I didn't wear my bulletproof vest. And they're just going back and forth because they both want to die.
Yeah.
And Adam West drives by. He goes, just kiss, you fruitcakes. Dude, I lose it every time. I've seen that episode 100 times. I lose it every time. There's another one when they go to the Deep South and they get in prison.
Yeah.
And then they finally like make it out and they make it back and they get rescued from the evil cops.
Love that episode.
And they're just standing around. They're celebrating their victory. And Adam West drives by again. Adam West goes, hey, are you guys on a date? Yay. Dude, I love it. I laugh every time.
Oh my God.
Every time. But it sucks that he's not going to be on the show anymore. That's too bad. That's really too bad.
Have they released, are the episodes already been released without him in it, or did he already have a couple that have already been aired that he had already recorded?
So Family Guy episodes take like a year to produce. So the stuff coming out now, like the most current season 15, was actually made in like 2015, 2016. So Adam West and Carrie Fisher are still in it. We have yet to see the season without them.
So probably got probably one more season.
I don't think we're going to see Adam West or Carrie Fisher after this current season. Okay. I think that's probably when they're going to cut it, because they're already kind of cutting it with Carrie Fisher. They did have an episode this current season about Peter getting fired from the brewery, but I don't know if that's canon.
See, they should make Peter the boss. No,
I think that'd be dope.
I think something different. And it would suck to see a new mayor though. You know, but there has to be a mayor, obviously. So it should be Brian who.
I think that'd be wonderful if Brian became the mayor.
Absolutely, that'd be hilarious.
Okay, now who's the most annoying Family Guy character?
Man. I hate to say this because in the earlier seasons, I loved him because he was just so like plain, and he just was funny because how boring he was. I'd probably say Cleveland, because I really loved Cleveland. Like the first few seasons, I loved him, but now he's just kind of like after the whole Cleveland show thing, I feel like they made it such a mockery of his character. It's just kind of like annoying at this point.
It's kind of like, I feel like every time I hear Cleveland speak, it's kind of like, hey, you guys remember when I had a show?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I hear every time Cleveland speaks. Like, they're trying to add like this depth to a character Cleveland never had the most depth out of the four, and so that's why they gave him his own show, and then they brought him back and tried to maintain a sense of depth amongst the other ones, and it just didn't work.
Yeah, and then they brought his family from that show into this show, and they really haven't like done that much with them. It's just there's only so much you can do in like 22 minutes of screen time. You know what I mean? So
I mean, now it just feels like he's kind of out of place.
Yeah, it does.
It kind of feels like he's just a recurring cameo now.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, Cleveland. It sucks because like I said, the earlier seasons, like he's in the perfect spot. He's not like doing too much, but he's just right there. Like when you need like a quick Cleveland joke, like he's there.
Yeah, like the laid back demeanor that he has. I like that stuff.
Yeah,
that was pretty funny to me. But I think the most annoying Family Guy character to me has got to be James Woods. Anytime James Woods shows up on my screen, I'm like, man, I hate this show.
Yeah.
Like I just don't like James Woods' character. I just think I know he's supposed to be like the antagonist whenever he shows up, but man, he's just annoying. I'm like, dude, get off my screen. I'm trying to see more Quagmire, you know?
Yeah. A lot of people like gave him a lot of praise. Like, oh, it's James Woods, he's funny. Like, eh. And then there's the repetitive trapping him in the box at the end of every episode. I don't know. It's really not that funny to me.
Now, what is the Family Guy joke? I know you already know the answer to this. What is the Family Guy joke that everyone says is hilarious but is just not?
Okay, I kind of have like two answers for that.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like a cutaway gag, it's got to be the giant chicken. Like that is just the worst.
It's gotta.
I can't even watch the first one without just being like, oh.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, there goes 5 minutes of my watching this episode.
As far as the joke, it's got to be the Cool Whip.
The cool. Oh, dude, that's so annoying. That's not funny anymore.
No, it was funny when you were like in elementary school, but there's so many like top Family Guy like moments that like most people know about, like that, or like the Stewie beating up Brian for the money. Like everyone's seen, you know. It's just not as funny.
Yeah, I mean it's classic, but let it be classic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the most annoying joke is the bird is the word. That shit is not funny. It was funny the very first time, because the first time I saw it, I was young enough to find annoying things funny because they were annoying. Now I watch it, I'm like, man, even when they make it like a reference to how annoying that joke was, I'm like, dude, that's annoying. That's not. I watched that episode. It's called I Dream of Jesus. I think it's from season 7.
Oh god.
It's that episode. Anytime that episode comes on when I'm just like flipping through the series, that's the episode I skip. I'm like, man, I can't hear this again. That's rough.
Well, here's a quick question for you, because I've seen every single episode of Family Guy like a trillion times. So like every time I watch, I try and analyze something different. Who's your favorite like very minor character that doesn't appear a lot, but every time you see him, like you love it?
There is one character, and I got to give a shout out to my buddies Bradley and Bryce for putting me on to this character. It's the guy who goes, I forgot how it goes, but he goes, I went down to the lake to bone my girlfriend, but the mosquitoes were going crazy, and she said there was no way. Yo, that guy's shown up like 3 different times, and it's just the most quotable thing I've ever heard. When he says there was no way, I try to say that every opportunity I get. Dude, I'll be at a funeral and I'll say there was no way. That is so funny to me. I don't know why I find that funny, but I love it. I don't know. That small like appearing every once in a while just adds so much value to it.
If I had to pick, kind of like 2 answers for it, but if I had to pick one, I'd pick Death. I love Death.
Yeah.
Especially in the earlier seasons. I don't know. He just always shows up, and to me, he was voiced by someone else before Adam Carolla did it. But they've both done a nice job of doing the. I can't remember the guy's name. I think it was like he only.
You mean the early seasons?
Yes.
It was the same guy who voiced the dog in Doctor Dolittle, but I can't think of his name.
I can't. Yeah, but I enjoyed him as well, and I don't know, just everything Death does. I don't know. I just think it's hilarious because like he's Death. Like his character is Death. I just think that's hilarious.
Yeah, I think that was Seth MacFarlane said that death was going to be like a recurring theme in the early seasons, and that's why he appeared so much then. But yeah, he does kind of steal the show. He's kind of just like forwards the plot along. Like if you don't have an idea for a story, dude, Death's going to show up. He's going to save your episode.
Absolutely,
that's a very good one.
And an honorable mention, the guys that are like, oh, you said it, friend.
Yes, dude. He's like, oh, very good, friend.
Happy Gerbits Day.
I have like $6.40.
Man, every drink was $6.40.
Dude, I love those guys. It's so funny to me.
Yeah. Oh.
Yes, that's definitely laugh. Man, Family Guy's got so many good characters now that I think about it. Like, when you try to narrow it down to like what's a good one, they're all so good in their own way.
Yeah, so kind of going on, like we could talk about this for hours, but when was like the decline? Like you started to like, maybe I'm not enjoying it as much as I used to.
I think around season 11, whatever season started with them climbing Mount Everest, I kind of started to feel like I think they're getting kind of tired. Like yeah, I think it was season 11, but I read this research that said that Seth MacFarlane kind of stopped caring about Family Guy around 2012, 2011 when he was making his Ted movie, and he wanted to branch out and do other things, and that's why he tried to kill off Brian and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of an interesting idea. But yeah, Seth MacFarlane's, I think he's getting bored of Family Guy.
I mean, it's only natural, I mean, you've been doing it since 1999. I mean, like, I think there's actually a video on YouTube right now. It's called like How Family Guy Died. I think it's by this guy called Entertain the Elk. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
That's the one. Yeah.
And he showed the little part of an article around that time where he was like, he wanted to let it die by killing off Brian, but the fans like wouldn't let it die. You know what I mean? So like he kind of, I think he's kind of like got a little bit more inspiration now, but at the same time, it's only natural for a show's only gonna last like 5 to 6 years, like a good show, like with good material. It's only natural. Like, look at The Simpsons. Do you know anyone that like still watches The Simpsons? Yes, season 59 is out.
Oh man, I watch The Simpsons movie, and then like if it's on TV, I'll watch it, but I will never go out of my way to watch The Simpsons.
Yeah, you're not actively seeking to watch The Simpsons. So I hope Family Guy does not last that. I don't think it will.
I think with Disney buying Fox now, I think it's time to cap off Family Guy with season 16 and like, hey, we don't have Adam West anymore. We don't have Carrie Fisher anymore. Seth MacFarlane's doing other things. Like, let's end it here. I think that's what they should do.
I would probably cry when they announce it.
You know what? It'll be sad. I'd rather see that. And this happens with pretty much any creative act that, like entertainment. Like, if you grow old with it, eventually you will grow tired of it. It doesn't matter what it is. Music, movies, TV shows, anything. I would rather see it stop dead in its tracks than burn out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, who knows? Maybe that'll happen. That'll probably be for the best.
I'm really waiting for them to cancel it so they can put together like the best box set DVD of all time, and I'm gonna buy it. I don't care how much it is.
Yeah, if they should just do a box set for everything, all Family Guy, all seasons, like $100. That's something to have right there.
Yes, I will definitely be purchasing that whenever that comes out.
Now, Family Guy kind of spurred, or I should say Simpsons spurred a lot of animated comedy aimed towards like raunchy adult comedy on television. What do you think Family Guy's greatest competitor is? Or was?
I don't really think they've had a competitor. South Park, they kind of had like a rivalry for a little bit, but The Simpsons was already like on the decline when like Family Guy was popular. You know what I mean? So they weren't really like, they never were competing. Like they took inspiration from The Simpsons. You know what I mean? So, and obviously you can't say American Dad. Seth MacFarlane created that show. You can't say The Cleveland Show for the same reasons. Plus, it's The Cleveland Show.
You can't say Futurama either. It doesn't.
No, they never really had a competitor because Family Guy's always like been at the top in terms of like animated shows. So I don't know. That's kind of a tough question. But if I had to pick, I'd say South Park, I guess.
Now I am a I think I'm a more diehard South Park fan than I am a diehard Family Guy fan.
Really?
I love. If I had to choose one or the other, I would choose South Park all day, every day. South Park is just phenomenal. They are on season 20 right now, and they are only getting better.
I do love South Park, but I don't watch as much as you. But if it's on, I'm definitely watching it.
South Park is the incredibly rare exception that as time progresses, they're still getting better. They're not on the decline yet. And I think that has a lot to do with them relying on social commentary and how fast they can react to world events. But
because that will never die.
It'll never die. It always gives them new stories. But I think South Park is just hilarious. But because Family Guy is more family friendly than South Park is, I think Family Guy will always have the upper hand there with being viewed by kids. But no, I gotta give it to South Park. I think South Park's funnier than Family Guy. Yeah, I said it. Real talk.
I gotta go with Family Guy, but I do like South Park. Like I said, if it's on, I will watch it, and it's definitely one of the best shows of all time. So
now, Family Guy's biggest crutch, I should say, is their reliance on cutaway gags, and this is something that they even address in the show, is how much they rely on cutaways. That's pretty much, you can just write a cutaway. Like, you write a joke, a 30-second joke, and you plug it in anywhere. And that's like the Family Guy formula. Is there a definitive best cutaway of all time?
No. It's impossible.
Yeah.
I could sit here and name 100, and I could debate this all night. Like, there isn't a favorite. But if I had to pick, like, one of my favorites, it's underrated in my opinion. It's the Stewie and Mother Teresa cutaway.
Yo, when they pull up to the hospital, oh my god, that's so funny.
That's classic. I mean, but there's so many, but that one just kind of sticks out as like an underrated cutaway in my opinion.
Yeah, you can't really answer what's the best cutaway, but when you're asked about cutaways, I mean, whatever comes to mind is kind of what your best is. When someone asks me about favorite Family Guy cutaways, you know what my favorite is?
What?
My favorite is I don't know how to describe it without quoting it. It's the scene. There's two guys. It is like he's like, "Hey, I'm from this religion. I have no reason to dislike you." There's the other guy. He's like, "Hey, I'm from this religion. I have no reason to dislike you." And his third guy enters the scene. He's like, "Hey, did you guys just hear about this magical baby that was born in Nazareth?" And they all stab each other. That is so funny to me. I can't do it justice.
Them summing up religion in like one cutaway.
And I have no reason to hate you. And they just stab each other. That's so funny.
yeah, that is hilarious.
Anything that happens fast like that is the funniest. What do you have? What about episodes in general? What episodes come to mind?
That's an even harder
question. Best episodes.
Man, I'll try and like pick a couple from like to progress the seasons. One of my earlier favorites was the 2-part episode. It's where Brian he becomes like addicted to cocaine working with Joe in the cop station, and then he ends up going to Hollywood. It's not like extremely funny, but it's like one of the best episode like from a storytelling perspective. I do like that episode from the earlier seasons. In terms of like the later seasons, I don't think this one gets enough credit, but it's I think it's the first time they went HD, and that was the like the murder mystery 2-parter.
Yeah.
I love that episode.
That's I actually just found out like not too long ago that was a parody of a movie.
Apparently, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like a really creative story, but no, it's a parody of a movie.
Oh, man, I could literally just think of my favorite episodes all day. But that's just like from an earlier to a newer standpoint, some of my favorite ones. But from season 4, everyone's favorite season.
What's the best episode of season 4?
Oh man,
everyone says petarded. Everyone says that.
I don't like.
Everyone says that's like the greatest Family Guy episode of all time. I don't think so at all.
I saw that on Watch Mojo. I was like, no way. I mean, it's funny, but it's not the best. From season 4, I probably have to go with the Fat Guy Strangler.
Oh my god, that's classic.
I love that one.
Yeah, I think when I try to think of my favorite episodes, I can't narrow it down to one.
Oh no.
You see, one that I really like for no particular reason is Baby Not on Board, where they take the road trip and they leave Stewie behind.
Yeah.
And he's like, he has to get the job at the restaurant, and he's like, they're like, Stewie, I need you to go clean the bathroom. He's like, no, there was literally no attempt to make it in the toilet. Like, I don't know. I think that's relatable for a lot of people. But I like that episode. And I think, it's hard thinking of your favorite episode.
I feel like, to me, this is like a 2-part episode that we need to do. Because you're talking about like the brief history, and then you need to do another episode where you talk about like all your favorites.
Yeah.
Because there's so many.
What'd you think about the Simpsons crossover?
At first I hated it. I was like, this is awful. But I go back and I watched it like probably a month ago. You know, it's all right. It's not as bad as I thought it was, but it's still not like, you know, it just happened a little too late, you know.
Yeah, it definitely did happen too late, but man, they hit all the notes in that one. Like, there's not a single thing that I say, oh, it would have been nice if they did that. They literally did everything. Yeah. They got every Simpsons character and every Family Guy character referenced in that, and I just thought it was incredibly well done, because a lot of people make the jokes like, because like the first half of it, it's a 2-parter. The first half is Peter Griffin and Homer Simpson like working together as friends. Everyone wanted to see that. And the second half was Peter Griffin and Homer Simpson fighting to the death, and people also wanted to see that. So how do you make that into one episode? You just don't. I think that was executed so well. I really do like that episode a lot.
Here's a question for you. Which episode do you think is the worst of all time, or some of your least favorite episodes? There's always that one that everyone says it's the seashells episode. It's called something like that,
where Brian goes on the drug trip.
Yeah.
I like that episode, not for the content, but for like the style of it. I think the animation was really cool in that one. I like watching it.
That's like a popular one for people to hate. I just saw that.
Well, it's because it has no point. But I think that was kind of just like artistic expression with the drawers of Family Guy. I like that episode for the art. I don't like it for the story. Mm-hmm. But when I try to think of my least favorite episodes, the only ones that come to mind are generally the ones that are centered around Chris.
Oh, yeah.
I don't enjoy any Chris episodes. Like the one where he befriends like the Nazi puppeteer. That's not fun to watch. I don't enjoy that one.
It's... I don't know. It's funny because like they just do nothing with Chris, and like, oh, Chris is the main point, and then you're like, oh, why should I care? Like Chris gets on my nerves sometimes. But
Chris is so good in small doses.
Yeah.
But when there's an episode centered around him and you try to show like the humanity of Chris, I'm so sick of it. How many episodes are there going to be about Chris trying to get a girlfriend?
Or about Meg like being bullied?
Yeah, I that's another one. Like the Meg joke, like everyone hates Meg. That's good in small doses.
Yeah,
but I don't need a.
You know, it's an episode that everyone like I was popular to hate, but I actually like it. It's the one where Quagmire's sister
screams of silence. Yes,
I don't know. I think a lot of people like oh, that's such a sensitive subject, but I think they do like a good job of putting humor to it. I know it's hard to do that, but they do a good job of like bringing humor to it, and I like the ending of the episode where Quagmire kills the guy. Like it's crazy, but I think it's a good like storytelling episode.
I like that episode. Yeah, that's a very good episode because you're right. Like they don't tip the scales in favor of getting the serious message of abuse across versus parodying something serious like abuse. I think they balance it so well. Like it's. I shouldn't say it, but it's funny to see, but you're also hyper aware of how serious that problem is.
Exactly.
So they did it really well. I think that episode's awesome.
I love the very ending where they write the letter, they forge the letter, and Joe's like, I'm going to wheel away now. He's like,
yeah. Dude, I like Joe.
He's like... Man, yeah, I love Joe too. God.
Some of the best moments in Family Guy, they're not even like, and this is an argument. This is something I try to explain, and I'm not going to be able to explain it well. But to me, the absolute funniest parts of Family Guy are not the scripted jokes. And what I mean obviously Family Guy has a script, but the funniest jokes are the ones that are just like in passing. like as casual conversation.
Yeah.
Like they just drop it every once in a while, and they keep progressing the conversation forward. Like it doesn't stop for a commercial. It doesn't set up a cutaway. It's not a joke in and of itself. It doesn't change the scene. It's just dropped in the middle of a sentence, and I think that's the funniest joke. Like I think the one time I laughed so hard that tears came out of my eyes at Family Guy was the episode where so Peter, Quagmire, and Joe, they all go on a hunting trip, a camping trip, and for some reason Peter shoots Quagmire in the arm, and so Quagmire is just pissed, and he doesn't want to be Peter's friend anymore, and he just like hates Peter for the rest of the episode. So they have like a feud, and they're not getting along, and they're not hanging out, and then there's like one scene like halfway through the episode where Quagmire and Joe are in the Clam, the bar, and Peter walks in, and he doesn't go to the booth because they're not friends.
Yeah.
So he looks at Jerome, the bartender. He goes, "Ugh, Jerome, do you mind cleaning off my booth? Seems somebody left their garbage in it." And then Quagmire, oh my, I can't say it without crying. Quagmire from across the bar goes, "Hey Jerome, you mind telling that fucking piece of shit asshole to get the fuck out of my bar?" Dude. It's so funny. Like,
oh
just
my
like
God.
it's so not proportionate to what Peter said. It's so funny to me. That is the funny. He's like, "You mind telling that fucking piece of shit asshole?" Oh man, even when it's censored, it's funny. But that's a classic.
Oh my God.
My favorite moment.
Actually, another favorite moment. That YouTube I sent you a clip off YouTube on Snapchat today of Peter reciting 50 states at once.
Yeah, that's funny as hell, dude. I like that so much. Like that's some of the early humor that I don't think they capitalize on as much as anymore. But
God, that's classic.
Yeah, that is really funny.
All right, here's like just completely random. You know, it's like one pet peeve I have of Family Guy. Something that it's like no one cares about this but me, but I hate that they don't do it. You know the sunroom they have attached to the house?
Yeah.
They don't do enough in that room, and it pisses me off.
I forget that's there. I always see the screened-in window, but I always see people come out of the screened-in porch. Yeah. I never see people on the porch.
They've had it. I've even looked it up. Like someone even asked on Yahoo Answers, like, what? Like, why don't they show this more? They've only had it in like 2 episodes. Like the whole. I just don't know why they don't do more with it.
I think the only episode they use that sunroom in is the episode where they find the $20 on the ground. And Brian holds on to it, and Stewie tries to get it from Brian, and they're in the sunroom. That's it. That's the only time.
And like an earlier season where, the one where it's like the Willy Wonka themed episode where they're trying to drink all the beers and find the golden ticket. Yeah. They get drunk in there, but that's it. Yeah, that's it. It's like 2 or 3 episodes. I don't know. It just always bugged me.
Yeah, a lot of people don't even know that Lois used to give piano lessons. A lot of people don't even know that.
A lot of people don't know what Lois's head is shaped from.
I don't know what Lois's head is shaped from.
Really?
Yeah, what's Lois's head shaped from?
You really don't know?
I have no idea.
Oh, we're about to have a classic moment here.
Is it like a...
Hold on a second, guys. I'm looking something up on my phone. We're going to get a
genuine
reaction.
This is an exclusive reaction. I don't know what he's talking about. But apparently Lois Griffin's head is shaped like something.
Yes.
And he's pulling it up on his phone. Let me see. It is shaped like a penis.
You didn't know that?
You know what?
Look at it. It's so true, dude. I couldn't believe it whenever I started looking at it.
That's where my mind went when you brought it up. I had no idea, but that's it. You heard it here first. If you're anything like me, Lois Griffin's head is shaped like a penis. All right.
Classic.
Well, I learned something on this show today. Real talk.
Absolutely.
Real talk. Okay, now we can't close it out without talking about some of the biggest moments of Family Guy, which are the Star Wars parodies. The 3 Star Wars parodies. What do you think about those?
We all know the one moment that we think is the absolute best.
Absolutely.
The couch.
It's the couch. It's that casual jokes in the dialogue humor that make that funny. That's what I'm talking about. It's the casual conversation that makes that funny. It's when Chris and Peter it's the parody of episode 4, and they're trying to steal the couch from the Death Star, and they're trying to put it in the Millennium Falcon, and they're like trying to fit it through the doorway like anyone who's ever moved into a place with a couch has struggled with. the funniest thing. Like, you can't even like mimic it. You can't imitate it. You can't quote it. It's just so like, dude, this is so real. It's so funny. That's definitely a good moment.
Yeah, that's classic. I mean, I'm not even like the biggest Star Wars fan, but I do enjoy whenever they do the crossovers because they're really hilarious. They get everything down to a key. Like most of their writers must be huge Star Wars fans because they get it right every time.
Those are fun to watch. Those are like, if you ever wanted like a comedic summary of a Star Wars movie, like watch that. I do enjoy those movies. So they'll never do the new ones.
So here's something that we can end on, I think. So how many seasons has it been? 15?
Yeah, we're on season 15 or 16. I think we're on 16 right now.
Okay. It's kind of like a double-sided question. Which character from this span did you like the progression that they took, and which character did you not like the progression from season 1 to now?
That's a good question.
And you've already said Brian, so try and think of...
Right. Yeah, we all know that Brian started as the voice of reason and kind of evolved into the liberal douche, as we said.
Yeah.
I think the evolution of... Damn, that's a hard one. I like that. I do like that they're giving Lois more lines.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was kind of just like a placeholder in the early seasons, but she's dropped some funny stuff before lately.
If I had to pick someone's progression that I don't know, it's kind of in the middle because I like his progression, but at the same time I miss the old him, and it's Quagmire because I do like the Quagmire's like very subtle, like he was like just a ladies' man, and he was very subtle about his jokes, but they were funny, and then now he's just like a madman, but it's still funny, but at the same time you miss like the old like Midnight Q like type thing.
Yeah, the Midnight Q.
And now he's more like he just hates Brian. You know what? That brings up another. That's one of my favorite scenes. Him and Brian when they're at dinner and
when they're eating steak.
Oh my god!
The best written scene in Family Guy ever is when Quagmire tells Brian why he doesn't like him.
And the ending, whenever he's like, "Hey man, can you give me a ride?" Sure. And then he backs into him.
You're absolutely right. Quagmire kind of started as just like the
ladies' man. He's just like a cool guy.
Yeah, he's just kind of like there, he's Quagmire. And lately he's definitely has more depth to him, but he seems more like, I don't want to say dangerous, but you see him squint and sound evil a little more. He's definitely like, okay. Yeah, he's definitely like very snarky now, and so I like that.
I'll go with him as like my pick for progression. I did like because I do like both ways, but I'll use him for that example. And a progression that I haven't liked. Do you have one? I'm trying to think of one right now. I'm trying to pick something that's not too basic. Like
my brain kind of goes back to Chris. I mean, in the early seasons, he was kind of just like your default teenage boy.
Yeah.
And then he's just gotten progressively stupider.
Yeah.
Over the seasons. Like, literally, I think it was like 2 seasons ago that this man literally, like, shook his head until his nose bled. I'm like, even Peter doesn't do that. And Peter literally had an episode titled Petarded. So, like I said, that's good in small doses. But when you try to center an episode around Chris, and you're like, this is the guy that ripped his hair out for no reason. Like I can't watch this.
I got one. It's not a specific character, it's more like a position. And to me it's Horace versus Jerome.
Oh man. Horace is classic.
Because I loved Horace. He was just a very minor character, but anytime he was on screen, like he was just hilarious.
He was so grounded, like he was just there,
Yeah, and he's very like sarcastic and snarky. Like he's someone that you want to be like own the bar that you go to. Like that's like a funny guy. And I like Jerome in places, but to me his only real value was the one episode where he comes back and he's like doing all like the sexual positions with Lois and Peter. It's like freaking out about it, but it's not really what it seems
like
to be.
Like the introduction to Jerome.
Yeah, like that was funny. And then now I feel like that he's just kind of like he's just kind of there. Like they didn't really progress his character. So I didn't like the progression from like you had Horace. They should have just stuck with him, and then it kind of got like worse.
What's the best celebrity guest appearance on Family Guy? They've had a lot. I'll tell you mine. Mine's got to be, it's a more recent episode. It's Ryan Reynolds when Ryan Reynolds moved into Cleveland's house.
The tickle where he's like tickling
Yeah, where
Peter,
he's like tickling Peter, and he goes to the Indian restaurant. He's like hitting on Peter. Dude, Ryan, it's so funny because it's like if it was a parody of Ryan Reynolds, it's already funny, but it's Ryan Reynolds doing it.
Again, this is kind of not. I don't know. I wouldn't say it's a celebrity. Jesus.
I like Jesus. Every time Jesus shows up, especially that 2,000-year-old virgin episode.
Yes.
I like that one.
Jesus. I don't know. He's not like a celebrity, I guess, but I don't know. He's probably my pick for that because he doesn't show up like all the time, but whenever he does, it's hilarious. And they have the same guy to voice him, so.
Family Guy's got a lot of moments when you think about it, and I know a lot of you listening to this.
I mean, to make this easier on everyone's ears, we're going to cut this down to whatever time we're at, but we could honestly talk about this for hours.
Yeah. There's so much to digest with Family Guy, but yeah, it's a staple. It's a staple with a lot of people. They grew up with it. They quote it. I quote it every day. People quote it all the time. It's a classic, man. It's American classic.
And to me, it's my favorite television show of all time, and it always will be. And there's a lot of shows that I do love, but for me, it's been near and dear to my heart for as long as I can remember. So it's my favorite show of all time.
Well, we do wish Family Guy the best, even though it will not be on Netflix as of February 14th, 2018. Get your fill. Watch the first 8 seasons all over again. Get your fix. Get Hulu. They got all the episodes. But that's about it.
Fire stick.
Fire stick. Yeah, we all know about the Fire Stick. If you don't know about the Fire Stick,
get out.
Get out.
Unsubscribe.
Unsubscribe. All right, but no, seriously, do subscribe, though, because I got new stuff coming out. Anyways, that about wraps it up for this analysis on Family Guy. Rest in peace, American Boy. Your show is almost done. I don't know how many seasons you got left, but I wish you the best. Any final thoughts?
Like I said, Family Guy is my favorite show of all time. I love it. I hope it can, get at least one more good season before they call it a day. But if I had to predict, to me, it's gonna go at least three more years. If I had to predict, but speaking of our channel, we started to we're really gonna commit to this. We kind of started this thing out. It was kind of just fun to do. Like friends and family would check it out, but we really want to take this thing to the next level. So we're gonna start putting out more stuff for you guys. We've got tons of ideas. Us being both in college, it is harder to commit a lot of time to this, but we're gonna. Anytime that we do have, we will be committing it to this. So we're gonna have a lot of new stuff out. So everyone subscribe. We really appreciate it, and we will not disappoint you. I guarantee it.
Very well said. I am looking forward to being more involved with NRJ and all the stuff coming out. You're going to see me in some stuff, and you guys definitely want to check that out because I know you love me being all up in your face about it. Yeah, I mean, we post when we can, man. It's not a real job,
At the end of the day, it's not a real job.
Look at the label name, baby. This ain't even a real job. But yeah, anyways, that's going to wrap it up for Real Talk, episode 5. Thank you guys for listening. I love you guys so much. Tune in next time when I talk about, I don't know, something else. All right. Until then, it's been real.